Cool. Thanks for the introduction. I see a few familiar faces. I know that I've worked with some of you on the new form builder within the last few months. Going to start off with just a kind of general update on what the XFP team has been doing since the last academy. So we've had 8 releases. We have introduced 22 new features. We've improved on existing features 24 times, and we've put in kind of 73 bug fixes in those 8 releases. A lot of these things are kind of going into the new form builder. The way that the new form builder has been designed allows us to kind of iterate it a lot quicker than we used to be able to. What I presented at the Birmingham Academy in March and kind of where the form builder is now within 3 months, there's lots of new things in there, lots of kind of stuff that didn't quite make the cut when we first released it, and now they're starting to come in. So we'll look at a few bits and pieces like that. First, I suppose the sort of key bit that we've been working on over the last couple of months is updating our reporting. It's been an area where we've always kind of it wasn't the best, shall I say? So we've been putting a lot of effort into kind of presenting or allowing you to get access to the data that we hold, and we hold loads of data about forms. We know when they were started, we know how they were submitted. We know if a customer service advisor filled in a form. We had all that data, but it wasn't easy to get at. So the first thing to kind of tell you is that in XFP the reports have now moved. They now fall under the utilities menu under the reports. So they're now kind of side by side with the CMS reports. So you can go to a single page in your control center and access them. All the Xforms ones are under forms, rather helpfully. So what have we done so far? Well, these are the reports that we've done so far. So we can start to getting kind of an idea of how long it takes individual service advisors to complete a form. You know, if majority of your service advisors are taking 3 to 4 minutes to complete a form, but one is taking kind of 20 minutes, is there a training issue there? Can you identify it? Does that person need help? Is there something wrong with the form design? Are they just not getting it? So that gives you access to kind of that sort of information. We can also look to see how long it takes a form to be completed per channel. So on the website, are your customers on the website filling in a form? Does it take them longer than a customer service? Is the wording on the form kind of confusing to them? We're all getting to that habit of using our own terminology, which makes sense to us, but maybe, kind of Victoria's mum, maybe she doesn't fully understand what our terminology is. Yeah. So we can start kind of getting some insight into where the difficulties are with our forms, how we can improve them. We can also just get a summary of how many submissions a customer service advisor has done. Is there customer service advisors kind of averaging around about 100 submissions a day, but there's one who's only doing 5? Are they slacking off? Not that I would ever suggest that, but it gives you the insight which we didn't previously have. We then got kind of more sort of general stuff. So show me all the forms by channel. So which ones are kind of published to the web, which ones are customer services, and which ones are embedded. We can kind of drill down and find all the forms for that. Because we now have 2 versions of a form builder, we can kind of split them down and see which forms are created in which one. There will be a migration process from the legacy form builder to the new one, and this report will help you kind of understand where you're at, what the kind of state of play is. Also see all the forms that are live, all the forms that are live and visible. You can get all the forms that are owned by a particular admin. So if I wanted Andy Perkins' forms because he's about to leave the organisation, not that I'm suggesting anything, we can find out all of his forms and we can kind of reallocate them to different owners. We could also find out forms which don't have an owner. Maybe we've removed somebody from the organisation and they had forms, and we can find out kind of which forms don't actually have an owner on them. Also find out our most popular forms. in my experience, they'll probably be the waste. But we can see which forms are the most popular. Are we putting a lot of effort into a form which has only been used once in 6 months? That kind of thing. We can prioritize our workload. Receive forms by customer service advisor, so we can kind of see all the forms that a customer service advisor has completed. We can get a kind of report on that. Receive forms by form, it's kind of similar sort of to the traditional receive forms interface, but through here we can just download a CSV export of all those kind of headings for those forms. Receive forms by submitter summary basically says, was it a signed in user, an unregistered user? Are people signing up to use this form? Was it customer services? Was it customer services on behalf of a customer? We can kind of get those breakdowns. And then just a receive form summary. So how many forms have we actually received in the last period of time? So they've already been released. They're in a patch waiting to roll out to your site. So hopefully you'll find some of those reports useful. What have we got coming up? We've got some more reports coming up. We kind of looking more into the analytical side of things. So number of forms completed by a customer service advisor summary. I think that's the so a list of forms and then how many were completed by customer services, so you can see the breakdown on which one's the most popular for customer services. Does that mean that your web form is too complicated for customers to use? Can we simplify it? Because there's a reason why they're contacting you for customer services. Account of submissions breakdown for registered, unregistered, and CSO, customer service, grouped by the form. Customers, so with GDPR, which I'll show you some of the features that we've added for GDPR compliance a little later, but we can report, or we're going to be able to report to say that these customers have had their data cleared down by their request, which allows you to then go and update your other systems. Also, kind of show everything that we know about a customer. So what submissions have they put in, what payments have they made, what bookings have they made by a customer, so I could search for myself and see all of the interactions that we've had through forms. A sort of insight into how many forms are left in my account uncompleted. So are these forms too difficult? Are they too long? Are customers struggling with these forms? Is that the reason why they're keeping them in their My Account and not finishing them in a single session? We've got some reports on bookings by day and by service, so we can kind of just get a breakdown on what's been booked. Also some form analysis, so what pages are people dropping out on? It kind of goes hand in hand with the incomplete forms that's saved to My Account. So is there a particular page which is sort of 70% of your users are dropping out on? That could be an area that we need to look at and try to improve. Most popular route through the form. What devices our customers are using for the forms? Do we need to kind of consider them? All of our forms are responsively designed, but it could be that the report it style form is always used on a mobile. Kind of because people are out, they see graffiti or they see fly tipping, they're on the mobile device, but we don't know that insight until we've got that report. And then also forms with data retention policy applied. So it kind of goes hand in hand with GDPR, but which forms are we not clearing data down from, kind of governance of our site. So that's the kind of form reports. And if you've got any other ideas of reports that you want, which I haven't covered, please do grab me in the break, and I'll add it to the list. Quite happy to kind of work with you guys to get the reporting needs that you need. So PayBridge has also moved to the utilities reporting module. So being able to kind of report on your payments. So that falls under the payment reports. So what have we done so far? Well, we've kind of mirrored what we already had. We can do a breakdown of forms using a service. So all the forms which are using bulky waste, we can kind of see that. If we ever need to make a change to those forms, maybe we need to send a different reference number because the fund code has changed or something like that. We know which forms are using it, and we can just quickly go through and update them. The order analysis, kind of how many orders have been started, submitted, what's the breakdown? Are we seeing that there's lots started but not many submitted? Kind of have a look at that. The order summary, basically how much money have we taken based on service over the last period of time. The outstanding payments report. So if you've got, the way that PayBridge works is that we'll redirect you off to a payment provider, and then that payment provider will redirect you back. If for any reason the customer doesn't come back, then the payment and the form won't be completed. So this outstanding payments report allows you to kind of marry that up with what you've received in your payment provider, and we can kind of see if there's any particular problems on here. Have they actually made a payment? Which form have they, or we've got this payment in the payment provider, but we haven't got a completed form. It will show us that. The most popular services, which ones are the most popular, and also the sales. So give you a breakdown of all the kind of transactions that have taken place through PayBridge, so that you can kind of marry that up with your payment provider. Reports which are coming soon. We've got direct debit reports, so kind of what's the breakdown of the direct debits. Order, so you can get all the orders where a value is greater than or less than or equal to a certain amount. So we might want to find all the orders where somebody's paid £10 instead of £20 or something like that. And a report on balance lookups, how many people are looking up their balances, is it being used, areas like that. So again, if you've got any additional requirements for your payment reports, then do come and grab me. The next kind of significant feature that we've added is submission failure notifications. In the ideal world, every integration works every time. Realistically, that's not how these things work. If the service is down, if there's a misconfiguration, you can get errors. So at the moment, you wouldn't be able to, without logging in every time to check a form, or a customer contacting you to check a form, we wouldn't necessarily know about it. So we've added in some notifications. So this will basically you can set up the notifications for when something's gone wrong, and you can kind of, it will email a nominated email address or a mailing list. You can set the notifications to trigger immediately on failure. So raising a case in CXM CXM isn't responding, or there's a misconfiguration, we can get that error sent immediately to the nominated email, or we can do a daily digest. So that will give you everything for the last previous day, and that will run once a night. Notifications are set up on a per form basis. So if you've got certain areas which work on certain sort of service areas, they can have a different notification schedule to maybe a different area. So waste could have different from planning, for example. It's worth noting that this is only on old style forms. So this isn't within the new form builder. We've got different plans for the new form builder, but for now, this is just only in the old style forms.